Gardner, Justin James. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming to Planet Janet.
Absolutely. We are always happy to do a little bit of traveling, and it was a nice little cruise. The planets kind of stayed out of their way. We went by the Milky Way, and we have landed with you guys. But first and foremost, how's everything going with you guys?
It's going great. Post-pandemic, we've been able to play a couple of shows. That's been great to get back out there. It was kind of weird at first, It was like, it had been, a year and a half?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was great to sort of rip that Band-Aid off and get out there. It was kind of nerve-wracking. But, yeah, we had a couple of great shows. We got some great stuff coming up. Working on album number 4, and it's all good.
Absolutely, for sure. Yeah, because you guys really have just been cranking out records like really, really quickly when it comes to what you guys have been doing. So when the pandemic happened, that really kind of put a big old just brick wall kind of in a little bit of like your touring momentum and everything. But getting out of that pandemic, how has it just kind of felt getting back out on stage and playing with the guys again after having that time off?
It was wonderful. It was awesome. But in some ways, it was like the first time ever going out on stage. The first show we did was a festival up in Minnesota. And I remember getting there and walking out and kind of just feeling your heart just race and getting those butterflies again. Like, it's like, oh my God, can we do this? And then 30 seconds into the first song, we're like, yeah, we can do this. And it was a blast. It was just awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we had come off of the Australian tour that we did. And by the end of that, we were firing on all cylinders. Everything felt good every night. We were like on a roll and everything was tight. And then all of a sudden we had this huge break. And, it was nerve-wracking. And there were moments of uncomfortableness on stage, which I normally don't get a lot of that. I'm usually feeling pretty at home. But yeah, I was like, whoa, what's happening? It's been a long time. But yeah, we had fun. And then, the show we did after that got better. And soon we'll be up running, on the road full time. So.
Absolutely, for sure. When it came to like your time off the road because of the pandemic and having everybody, really just kind of locked down and stuff like that, obviously when it comes to bands in particular, communication is key. How did it feel like for you guys? Did you feel like your communication as a band got stronger during the pandemic because it had to? Or were there times of like trickiness because you weren't able to meet up to record live and obviously couldn't tour?
Well, I mean, for us, the two of us, obviously, we were locked down together.
Sure.
So we took advantage of just full immersion on writing together and stuff like that. As far as the band goes, I mean, we all had our own issues that we were going through with, Anthony has his own business. Richie's a full-time musician. So, everybody had different issues with their own lives going on. So, yeah, we just kept in touch, tried to offer each other support in any way that we could. But I thought it was difficult to, to keep spirits alive during that time. Like for everybody else, the same thing. Everybody was just kind of, yikes, what do we do during this time? We can't get together. We can't play live shows.
Yeah, it was tough, but it was kind of, there was two sides to it. Cause I think, it allowed us to dive into the last album that we did full force. And we just put all our efforts into that to try to take our minds off of everything else that was going on and being stuck inside and not being able to go anywhere, because we do all our recordings at home. So pretty much every day from morning to night, we were just in the studio writing, recording, mixing, mastering, and we were able to spit the last album out in a couple months, which under normal circumstances that wouldn't happen.
And we couldn't do any videos, so we started producing and editing our own videos, which is a whole different animal. All of a sudden we were trying to navigate video editing and multicam, shoots and all this stuff that we had never done before. So that was another thing that kept us busy and that we probably never would have done if it wasn't for the pandemic.
Right.
We would have just done the normal, go someplace and have someone else deal with it. But, so that was another creative thing that it was hard to get started, but once we got started, I couldn't stop. I was up all night, editing the video and, because there was nothing else to do. So
she became a pro at Final Cut. It's amazing.
Nice.
Brutal.
Nice. Yeah, it definitely allowed for like those other skill sets to like develop and stuff like that. That's something that we've always said like about this show. Like we were about 3 episodes in when the pandemic hit. So like we were ready to do the show. We had already started. We were like committed to it. And it was funny because we used to have, all 4 of us have like our own like various just contacts from our career and the contacts that we've had and the relationships we've built. But there was a part in the very early days of TMS where we were like, man, we really want to have a guest every single week. Man, that's going to be hard. But with everybody sitting at home, it was important for us to do everything we could to keep everybody on, on the frontal lobe of people, because music is it's so easy to be forgotten about when you're not putting out at least something new or working social media or finding ways to like stay active and stuff. So that was like a big thing that we really wanted to do, was make sure that everybody's, kept in the forefront so that nobody gets lost and stuff like that. Cause the pandemic was something that nobody had ever dealt with before.
Right.
Thanks for doing that. And, keeping people out there, because it was a weird sort of isolating feeling, and it would have been easy to just kind of fade into hermit land, because we kind of did that. I mean, we were making music and stuff, but we really had very little contact with anyone or anything, and it was very strange. So it was refreshing, and it was nice to be able to talk to, do an interview with someone like you, or kind of get out of that for a minute.
Well, it's kind of weird because, like for me personally, like going through all that, it was like, oh, this sucks. This is bad. But then when it kind of lifted, it was a little awkward getting back into reality too, because you kind of got set in your ways of just, being at home, watching TV or doing whatever you did. And it made it a little awkward socially, I think, to interact with people. And I mean, now that we're kind of opening back up, and hopefully we stay that way, it's great.
Absolutely, 100%. Psycho Steve, let's kick it over to you, brother.
Well, so to piggyback off the question about you guys writing and recording, and the other 2 guys are in 2 different states, of course. So who does the writing of the music? Who does the lyrics? Or is it a group effort between the 2 of you, and then you just pair it off to the other 2 guys? Or is it just solely you 2? How's it work?
When it comes to the albums, it's strictly the 2 of us. One day we would love to have Richie and Anthony, write with us, but it's been so easy and convenient because we do it all at home. And of course, like we're married, so we're together all the time. So usually it'll start with like Janet's great at with the lyrics. I'll come up with the music, or she'll come up with the music. And then we just put our heads together and play off of that. And basically from start to finish, we do everything, write, produce, master, and then hand it over to the record label for them to put it out. And then we send it off to Richie and Anthony. They learn the parts and join us on the road and do the shows with us.
Yeah,
wow.
It's great. We really don't have a method. And I think that's what makes it special, is that it starts with, something different every time. One of us will have a musical idea, and then we'll only let it get to a certain point, and then you bring the other person in and make sure that, they're involved, and that way it's definitely goes to a different place than either one of us would have done alone. And that makes it just that much better, because it starts with the seed and then it blossoms into something that the 2 of us do together. And, there's really no like, well, he does this and then I do that, and then I do this and he does that, because, I mean, we both do a lot of everything. And a lot of, you said, I'm great with lyrics. I couldn't finish lyrics without him. There's no way.
Gosh.
I stuck, and he gets me unstuck immediately. So we don't waste a lot of time, because, lyrics I could take 3 months and never finish. Just kind of, it's not good enough. It's not saying what I wanted to say. The second verse isn't right. It's, blah, blah, blah. and he'll come in and pop off a couple ideas that'll get me going in a different direction than I would have thought of. So, and musically we do the same thing. It's like, well, that's not what I was thinking, but that's awesome.
Nice.
And what's cool, like 70% of the time we're both on the same page, and we're both really, we want to get the song finished, we want to work on it. But what's nice too is when one of us, our mind might be someplace else, we got the other one there to kind of pull us back in and focus and get it done and be excited about it. So it works out great.
He cracks the whip.
No.
I'm not exaggerating. He'll be like, where are those lyrics? Did you work on that song today? It's like, well, I only had 987 other things to do, but yeah, I worked on the song today.
But I feel like I'm a huge music fan, and I'm a huge fan of hers. So when like a song is started and I hear where she's going with it, and I hear like a little demo part when she lays her voice down, I'm dying too to hear where it's going to go from there. So, did you do it? Did you do it? I want to hear the rest
Are
of
you
it.
done? Are you done yet? Are you done yet?
You guys are beginning to sound like a married couple. You guys should look into that.
Wow. I could never collaborate with her. Just saying. I'll get my ass kicked.
Just kind of go off what Steve was saying. How do you know when you have a good song idea from a not so good song idea? Do you guys ever have like any differences on should you continue working on a song because it's good, or just put it to the side because maybe it's not working out?
Well, we have a lot of ideas. So if we're not both fully inspired by it, then we move on. It's pretty easy. If one person is kind of like, yeah, I got nothing, then we move on because there's more ideas and more ideas and more ideas. So, we don't really, there's been a couple of times where there was something that one of us liked more than the other one and the other person wasn't quite feeling it. But again, then day later, there was another idea that kind of took off.
Right, and we've had it the other way around too, where, we've had an idea like, and the other one might not be feeling it. And usually, you can kind of read that if they're feeling it or if she's feeling it or not. And you might be so sold on it that this is great. So you go back and you work on it more and you try to tighten it up. And we've had it where I think we've kind of won the other one over and then gone back and finished something. And
yeah, he's talking about him. I move on. He doesn't move on, so he's like, I like this rip. I'm gonna
put it in there somewhere or another.
So you've been right a couple of times where I maybe thought, oh, it sounds too much like something else, or and then he would refine it and work on it some more, and it was like, yeah, that's there. Let's do it.
But that's the other thing too is when we got married, we were both musicians, and in the beginning we had a fear of working together because it can drive a wedge between people, and so we kind of avoided it. And then one day it just kind of happened on accident, and realized, oh, this was fun. So then the next time we did it, we're like, this is really fun, and we just learned that it's something like couples love going to movies together or going out. We actually really get a thrill out of working together and making music together. So it's complete enjoyment.
And it's precious time together because we are so busy, and we, the kids, and we've got jobs and all kinds of things going on, that it's valuable time to us. It's so precious when we get down in the studio, just the two of us, and do what we love to do together. It's like gold.
Yeah.
Mommy and daddy time.
Exactly.
Yep. 100%.
We have a few different types of mommy and daddy time. That's one of them.
Yeah. Absolutely, 100%. So, Janet, there's something that I wanted to cover just kind of like early before we break down into like the Synergy, your most recent album. So the last time that you, myself, and Justin all got to sit down and talk, like I mentioned off the air, was Fishhead Cantina outside of Baltimore. And at that time, you were still pulling double duty, and of course, both Vixen and with Justin. You have since made the decision to focus solely on the Gardner James project with Justin. Just talk a little bit about that decision. Of course, you had such a long established career as the voice of Vixen, and you've decided, that time has passed and that you wanted to commit your energy completely to this project. Talk a little bit about your thought process behind that.
Well, yeah, the summer of 2018 was absolutely insane for me. I mean, I would have had a hard time pulling off everything that went on that summer when I was 25. It was insane. There was a couple of times where I got off of work and I literally got on the plane in my scrubs and flew to Spain. Then we played a show and then drove like right after the show to Germany, and there was all this stuff going on. And then, with the kids, and Justin's kids didn't live with us at the time, so he was going to Chicago. We were still in Connecticut. So there was so much insanity that I was just a giant ball of stress. I was no good to anyone. It was just all too much.
Sure.
So, I had to make a decision, and Roxy, Cher, and Britt all, were ready to dedicate a lot of their time and a lot more than I was able to do. And that felt bad to me, that I was like, I can't, I can't do the things that you guys do. I have children, I have, other obligations. I just can't do it. So, I made that decision, and it was tough because it had been a part of my life for so long and such great memories, and I feel fortunate I even got to do it at all. So it was kind of an easy transition, actually. It was like, I love you guys, I wish you all the best, go on without me, I won't give you any problems about anything, the name, whatever, just carry on. And that was that. And
Absolutely. No.
yeah, it was really, really the right thing to do, because I feel balanced and good. Everything has its place in my life, and things are great.
Absolutely. That's super duper cool. And Justin, how about you? Because that had to have been, tricky with you. Obviously you're there 100% to support, but definitely have her being pulled so stretched so thin in two different directions had to have been a little bit tricky as well for you.
Yeah, it was tough. When I met Janet, was at a Vixen show. And, I remember, years ago seeing her in the Vixen videos and stuff, and knowing that was a huge part of her life. It was tough, especially like she was saying that summer. We had actually just gotten back from Europe from doing a tour out there. And then right when we got back, I think it was like 3 days later, she was gone and had to go back there with them. And, it was rough. It was hard. And I know that was a hard decision for her to make. She struggled with it for a very long time, to make that final call. And, it's, at the end of the day, I want her to be happy. That's what matters. And if she's happy, then I'm happy. And if she's not happy, then it sucks. It's difficult. So
yeah,
sure.
It put a strain on everything. I thought of another great story of what some of this was like. We played a show where, I think maybe it was Vegas or something. We played a show somewhere, or Ohio or something. And the next day I had a Vixen show in the afternoon in California. So I literally got there just in time. I still had my show makeup on from the night before to go on stage and do the Vixen show. Literally in yesterday's makeup. I had no time to shower, nothing. I literally had to travel from it was like a late night show.
Oh, yeah. No, we were in New York. We played the Revolution in Amityville.
Oh, so I had to go from New York
so from
all
one
the
side
way.
all the way to the other.
Yeah, to
God.
California.
That's way worse.
Yeah.
It was
Jet lag.
It was wicked. And, things like that kept happening where, there were conflicts, and this show here, and then all of a sudden, something came in, and I have to be over there at the same time, or 2 hours later, it's like, I can't do all this. So yeah, that was another great moment of like, wow.
Well, and then I'll add one more to this. Not to mention all that, she was busting her ass like crazy, but that year, it was when she had brain surgery too. And that was,
right.
absolutely terrifying. So a couple months later, after something like that, you come to your busiest schedule that you've had probably in 20 years.
In years, yeah. It was nuts.
But she was a trooper. She was a badass and made it through it. So
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, I was determined.
Definitely. So, Psycho Steve, let's bring you back in. But also on that note, fans, crush in those comments and those questions for Janet and Justin, because we're going to kick it to Angel very shortly for that segment. Psycho Steve, take it away.
So you brought up the fact is because I remember that tour that you did with both double duty and also being a mom, having the brain surgery. And I remember we talked about when we did the podcast with me about you weren't able to play guitar because the doctor said he didn't want to stimulate you too much or something like that. How are you feeling now? Because that's the biggest surgery you can have next to open heart surgery is brain surgery.
When you think, I can still feel like the screws and stuff. It's surreal that even happened, actually. Yeah, because I'm 100% fine now, right?
absolutely.
I mean, I wouldn't really know because if something was different, then I wouldn't really know what I was like before. But you think I'm kind of normal, right?
I think she's too sharp.
Go back in. You fucked it up.
No,
Right.
I did a lot of, fine motor therapy and things like that for two reasons: for playing guitar, obviously,
Right.
and for my dental hygiene job. It's all tactile feel and stuff like that. So it did take a while for all that to come back. I mean, I remember feeling I couldn't even eat because the muscles in my face wouldn't put. You don't realize how many different muscles work in your face to like push food around and stuff, and I couldn't even do that right. It was pretty horrifying for a while, but slowly but surely everything started to come back, and I had a little bit of speech problems.
A little bit, but just not much though.
Yeah.
Did it affect your singing too?
I don't know, because I didn't try that for quite a while.
I don't think so.
I think by the time I started singing again, I think everything was pretty much working like normal.
Wow. Science. It's incredible.
Yeah. That's
If
totally.
I had a brain, maybe they could do it on me, but just saying.
Speaking from tattoos off the air, you should get like a zipper.
There you go.
Or just or just take a Sharpie.
A
And
Sharpie.
just
that
take a
Steve
picture
said?
of it.
I could do that. Yeah. I still have a little bald spot. Right
Oh,
here.
really?
Where my
Me
hair
too.
is white. It's
He
like a
keeps it.
scar.
He keeps it very shiny.
Not a hard bald spot.
No, that was the thing. That because like that's what because I meant with like Steve, where he was talking about the eyes on like the top of his head and stuff like that, and I was like, that'd be a tattoo that I would love to see on Steve, where he's talking about if there's a brain. I'd be like, Steve, you need like a zipper.
I always wonder if it's Pine Sol or the lighting that makes him look shiny.
It's my radiance. It's my glow.
Your glow.
Yes, the Psycho Steve essence.
That's
You don't have
awesome. Hey, Angel, let's kick it over to you, brother. How are the Metal Summoners doing?
Also, a lot of questions about mainly touring, but we'll kick it off with Jeannie. Jeannie wants to know, will you be getting back to touring, maybe the East Coast again?
Yes.
We don't have anything scheduled yet, but we got to go to the East Coast.
We have to, especially, New Jersey.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
New Jersey, Pennsylvania,
New York.
New York.
Yeah.
I guess we could go back to Connecticut.
No, we haven't been back.
Those people in Maryland, I'm saying.
Oh, Maryland, absolutely. Yeah.
We did
We've
one show in Jersey. So we moved out here
Yeah, we
at
did.
Anthony's All-Star Music Empire. But we haven't been back there since we've moved here, so we definitely got to
Right,
get
and
back
we
out
think
there.
we got COVID on that trip, incidentally.
Yes, we do. We did.
Yeah, it was early on and there was no testing. It wasn't even supposed to be here.
Mhm.
And we got home and we got horribly sick. Like, I kept sending him like screenshots of the ear thermometer was like 103 for like 10 days. We were so sick. So yeah.
And
Both of you or just one of you?
Both of us. Yeah. I mean, she got it a lot worse than I did. I think I was out for about 3 or 4 days, and for Janet it was like a month.
And Ashton, our 12-year-old son, was really sick too.
Oh yeah.
He had it bad. And London and Ryan, nothing.
Yeah.
2 of the kids, nothing. So, but I'm pretty sure that's what we had, because it was like nothing I had ever dealt with.
Yeah, I mean, it was so bad that I think we were working on the Synergy album at that time, and we were mixing Say You Will, the ballad on the album. And I literally turned over to Jan in her chair, and she was cold sitting up in her chair while I was mixing.
Sitting in a chair, falling asleep. That's how bad it was. Yeah, I had no energy for like a month.
Yeah.
Well, we went to Australia after that, and that kind of, we were kind of okay by then.
Yeah.
But that was a few weeks later. So
Yeah.
anyway, East Coast, yes, we're coming back.
And especially if Jeannie's
and
asking, we want to see Jeannie.
And we won't bring COVID. We're vaccinated. We're all good. All good.
And we got an album question from Angie Perkins. She wants to know, how many songs have you finished for the new record, and when can I expect it in my mailbox? I mean, when can I get it?
Yeah, Angie.
Angie will personally drive it over there.
Yes.
Bring it to her.
Local buddy.
We've got about 6 or 7 songs started, I would say. Close to complete.
I beg to differ.
Give me a week. It'll be close to complete.
Are you done yet? Yeah, we have about 6 or 7 songs in various stages of completion. All the concepts are solid. Everything's good. We just have to finish the lyrics. Trying. Yeah, so I would say, what is it now? It's fall. Spring?
Yeah, we've got a couple of shows left to do this year, and once we finish those, we'll dive back into it really hard. And yeah, hopefully spring we'll have the next one ready to go.
Yeah, we need to, once we get in that groove, it goes fast.
Yeah.
And we've been kind of going in and out of that groove for a while now. But once we really start hitting it, it'll go fast. So I'm thinking spring.
Sweet.
Nice.
And we got a question from Candy Burton. She wants to know, can we expect you up in Canada? Well, that would be considered East Coast, right?
Yeah, I'd
Toronto.
love to go to Canada. I love Toronto.
Yeah, we were supposed to do a festival there, but it's something like, sadly, a lot of festivals just.
Yeah,
had their
the
issues
promoter, something went wrong with the promoter or something. Yeah, we should tell Chuck.
Yes.
We'll tell our agent to look into Canada.
Chuck Burnell?
Yes.
Yeah.
Artists worldwide,
Yeah.
everybody. So
Yeah.
Chuck, get on it.
Yeah. Or send Steve
Yeah.
up there to do a show.
True. I'll
Chuck's
go up again.
with some great stuff for us. The 80s
Yeah.
in the Sand. We were supposed to do a Hawaii thing that got canceled because of COVID. We were like, all these great spots. Yeah,
Well,
we'll go to Cancun. Yeah, we'll go to Hawaii.
Of all things, yeah, we had Hawaii that we were supposed to do, and Alaska. I mean, to me, that's just so freaking cool, because you don't see a lot of bands going to Alaska and Hawaii, and it would have been great, but
Yeah, and we did the Australia thing, which was on my bucket list.
Yes, mine
Neither
too.
of us had ever been there, and we were like, Australia? Are you kidding me? Yes, we'll be there. You don't even have to pay us. We'll go. We'll play.
We booked them,
Wow.
they will come.
Yes. Where there are guitars, there will be crowds.
So speaking about Australia, I know that kind of ties into my question. How was it touring in a place like Australia that you've never been to before? And what was the reaction from the fans down there? And can the fans expect you guys maybe in the future to come back to Australia?
Absolutely.
In a second.
Yes, we have actually already been in talks to go back there again. And again, right now with the COVID thing, and I think they're even more locked down than we were. that's on hold for right now, but that will definitely happen. And going there, I mean, every night, I mean, we went from the top to bottom of Australia. We were with Enough's Enough and Ron Keel, and it was just every city was absolutely gorgeous, beautiful, perfect weather. And we all four of us just had the time of our lives out there.
Yeah, and the promoter took really good care of us. He really appreciated us being there, and you know, they took us around, rented us some van tickets to the Australia Zoo. You know, we walked around Sydney. We actually had some time off, which we never get. You know, we usually like fly in, play whatever, and fly home, and you don't get to see anything. We had a few days off. We saw a lot of Melbourne, a lot of Sydney.
That's a long flight too.
Oh yeah.
The flight was brutal, but it was so worth it.
Totally.
I would do that again in a second. And there were people there too that were like, I've been waiting 25 years to see you.
Wow.
So that was really exciting that, you know, people were like, you know, couldn't wait to come to the show because they'd been waiting so long. We'd never been there. So that was nice.
Yeah, it was some of the nicest people in the world, and the food was fantastic. The food was great. The beer was great.
The coffee. 7-Eleven, you get like a beautiful espresso or cappuccino or latte at 7-Eleven.
They got 7-Eleven in Australia?
They do.
Wow.
Yeah, not either. That's pretty cool.
Delicious.
I'll drink coffee. I'll take a Slurpee in Australia, though.
Their Slurpees are amazing.
They had their Subway sandwiches were better than America too.
For sure.
Really?
Subway.
Damn.
Whoa, this is good stuff. Yeah.
All right. Steve, you got to make that happen. Yeah, Australia.
All right.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah, I would have to bring my girlfriend because if not, she'll kill me if I go to Australia without her. So
Oh, she'll be pissed at you, dude.
yeah, she'll be pissed. I'll come back a dead man. Like, hi, babe.
Well, which Ron Keel wouldn't do anything while we were there until his wife got there.
Right.
He's like, I can't do that. My wife's not here. I have to wait for her to get here. So yeah, he didn't go to the zoo with us. He didn't, because he had to wait for her so he could do everything with her. So
He's the trained man.
Ron.
Good job, Ron. Take
Yes.
care of Dee Dee.
Yeah.
That's a good husband there.
Yes,
No.
good advice for Steve, who's walking down the aisle next year.
Am I really?
Oh,
Awesome.
Aren't you?
Congratulations.
Okay.
Oh, she's gonna kill you. You're dead.
No, I am happily engaged. I just didn't set a date yet. Just saying.
She's
Oh.
she's watching it in the other room right now. She's about to put a comment up.
She's preparing the funeral.
Just
Sorry.
when you get home tonight, you're not getting any from me.
Can you guys sing at my funeral?
Zero.
It's cool.
Dude,
No,
I know how to stay alive.
That's
Cool. Nice.
Speaking of staying alive, I'm pretty sure Matt Porter has on his disco pants and dancing disco right now. So he has a good question. Hi, Matt. Just kidding about disco.
Oh, he's just playing the Kisco album.
Kisco?
Yeah. You know, he's playing like I Was Made for Loving You and stuff like
That
that.
sounds like a cooking oil.
That's Crisco.
Really?
Yeah.
Thought it was Kisco.
No, it's Crisco. Go ahead. Ask me
What the hell did I keep pronouncing it that way? Okay, Matt. All right, let's get to Matt's question.
Okay.
With Eddie Van Halen's passing, can you share a favorite Van Halen song or memory? I know it's
There's
tough
so
to pick
many.
a favorite.
you got to pick a
Yeah.
favorite. Is
Everything.
It was
I
good.
mean, I like the really early stuff because it made such a huge impression on me. And I was in a cover band, so we played a lot of those songs. So like Jamie's Crying and Running with the Devil and those,
yeah.
you know, those songs are such a part of my being that's definitely my favorite stuff. I never met Eddie Van Halen, which I regret to this day. I met David B. Roth and met Michael Anthony.
You want to meet Alex?
Van Halen brothers.
Oh.
No.
Yeah, for me, it was just David Lee Roth. Never met Eddie. I mean, he just
No. I wish I would have. But
Yeah.
yeah, huge loss for music in general. What
Sure.
an amazing musician and influence he was on all the music that I love. So yeah, the early stuff was definitely, it's ingrained in my soul.
Sweet.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, even like to me, like the early stuff to me is my favorite. I mean, David Lee Roth is David Lee Roth. He's just the rock star and great. But I mean, even stuff like Pound Cake that, came later and stuff. It was just awesome. It was great. The Sammy stuff was different, but
I love the Sammy stuff. I love all Van Halen.
Yeah.
You can't, I bought everything they ever did. But the early stuff was the most impactful on me for sure.
What about you, Steve and Jay? Do you guys have a favorite song?
I mean,
Okay, so if I was going to pick Sammy, I love Pound Cake. Love that song. I think that's a freaking great song. The video is pretty rad too. Then with, because I'm hungry, I guess I'm talking food now. Ice Cream Man. I really liked Ice Cream Man because it was so different. And then back in the day when I first started on terrestrial radio in college, I used to close with Happy Trails, my show, because I thought that was a pretty cool song. Because I met Roy Rogers as a kid, so I met him at Roy Rogers' restaurant. My mom took me dragging and screaming. I was sick, and she's like, "I'm not missing an opportunity to meet Roy Rogers. I don't care if you have a temperature or not." I'm like, "Really? You're a Jewish mother and a retired nurse, and you're not going to let me stay home? No, we're going to meet Roy Rogers." And lo and behold, I met Roy Rogers, 103 temperature, sicker than a dog. And I'm like, "Sorry, Mr. Rogers, if I puke in your restaurant, I'm sick. My mom dragged me here." And he's like, "Nice to meet you, son." That's all he said to me. And then he talked to my mom, and my mom's like, "Oh my God." So that's why I liked Happy Trails. Or like I said, what's it called? Ice Cream Man for the Dave era. And then, of course, I think Gary Sharon did a damn good job too, because his voice is just awesome.
I like that album personally.
Yeah, he just got a bad rep because
I do too. I do too. I felt bad that people busted on him so much because
the man could sing, he could dance,
Great job, yeah. Oh, he's a great front man, sure.
Absolutely. So I saw like all 3 times, like the 3 times I saw Van Halen, it was once with Dave, once with Gary, and then once with Sammy. But those are the 2 songs that really, or 3 songs that really stick out. But I never got to meet Eddie. I used to work with Dave at K-Rock, so I saw him a lot. And
cool.
Yeah, that was pretty rad. And then when Steve Brown went to go see, because David Lee Roth was doing support for KISS for the End of the Road tour for a couple of the shows, I told Steve Brown of Trickster and Def Leppard and 16 other bands that he's in. I said, "If you see Dave, just tell him I said hi." And he's like, "Absolutely." And then he told him, and then Dave goes home from one Jew to another Jew, "How do?" So it was pretty cool. So,
Oh, that's great.
That's awesome.
See, I'm bummed. I'm going to the End of the Road tour on Saturday, and Dave's not going to be there. And I was like, "Oh God, that would have been great."
yeah, I don't know what they're going to do, if they're going to add another direct support song, and besides the Painter.
I think it's just the Painter from what I saw, but who knows?
Right. And then Dave just announced that he is retiring and doing the residency in Vegas. And then there's rumor have it that Alex might jump on and do a song or 2 with him, and possibly Michael might go, stuff like that.
That's cool because it's a short residency, right? Isn't it supposed to be like 4 or 5 dates in January?
Yeah, something like that. Which would be really cool, He's just a great showman, He just always had that swagger about him, and he was just like, hey, he's definitely a Vegas kind of. He's like a Vegas rock star to me, even though he's bigger than that.
He's hilarious too. I
Yeah,
just think
exactly. His jokes are freaking,
he's a nutty genius. He's just he's so fun.
100%.
No, it was hilarious. I remember when the last time I saw Van Halen live with Dave, he was talking about coming back to the States after living so long in Japan, and he was just like going like, yeah, I came back from Japan with a whole new like paint job on my car because he came back like heavily tattooed and stuff like that. And I was just kind of like, that's awesome. But I always loved David's sense of humor because it was kind of like this frat boy meets like dad jokes. But he always had like this really like gnarly, unique sense of humor with the stuff that he would deliver that I always thought was fantastic.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to like songs and stuff like that, I mean, I've always been just so loyal to Hot for Teacher when it comes to like the David Lee Roth stuff. I just think that's such a fantastic song because it's just so fun and just so goofy. And I think everybody went through that at one point. When it comes to Sammy, like, I mean, I'm into like the basic hits. I mean, I love Dreams, and I love Why Can't This Be Love. But I've always had kind of like a soft spot too for like Top of the World and Man on a Mission, off of For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge.
Oh, Top of the World is awesome.
Yeah. So I've always really, really liked that. I mean, for me, it's always been like, when it comes to like Van Halen, I like Dave in my Van Halen, but when it comes to like solo, I like Sammy because as much as I've always loved Dave, when he was doing his solo stuff, which I always thought was fantastic, it always had a little bit of this feel to me that it was, because that was Dave's style, like kind of trying to do like Van Halen-ish with like other guys, but still having him in like the forefront. But Sammy was a completely different animal when it came to like his solo stuff. So I just have always really dug on David in my Van Halen and Sammy as a solo, but they both brought so much to that band. And, I remember watching an interview way back when they were like, well, yeah, when Sammy came into the band, they got so big because Sammy was more into writing like love songs. And then there's so many more girls at the show.
Right.
Well, I think musically it took a little turn
Definitely.
that way too. That was definitely, I think, appealed to a wider audience.
It definitely was more, I guess, what you would call radio friendly for sure when it came to that kind of stuff. It definitely played out to more people's like tastes and sensibilities and stuff like that for sure, Janet.
Yeah.
So I definitely think you're right about that one. Angel, let me kick it back up to you, buddy.
Just gonna say my favorite, then kick it back up to you, and then we'll do the next round of fan questions. For me, it's got to be Unchained. That's always my favorite, and what I liked about Van Halen, and just how they influenced that whole genre of 80s metal, is that it was fun and entertaining. And being in grade school, that's freaking awesome. You're bored in school during the damn day, but at night you had these awesome shows happening. And man, I loved my childhood.
What about you? Have no Sammy favorite song?
Of course.
Which is?
I got a favorite.
Which is?
Dreams. Damn it, hasn't come to my mind yet.
All right, we'll come back to you.
Yeah, but Dreams definitely. Summer Nights, love that one.
And their videos were pretty good too.
Oh yeah.
If you think about it.
Yeah, Pound Cake is definitely a favorite.
Right. I just thought it was cool because he was using the drill, and it was like the same time that Paul Gilbert was doing it, and Billy Sheehan with Mr. Big's first album doing the drill thing with attached the pick to it. I just thought it was innovative. I just thought it was really cool how they did that. So because I have no musical talent, that's why I do radio. So just when he put the guitar, like the drill up to his like pickup to get the feedback, or I don't know how to explain it because, like I said, no talent here. So, but it was just really rad how he did it, and then it was cool. That's cool. Anyway, back to you, Jay.
Hey, no worries. No, that's super cool. That because that you mentioned like musical talent and stuff like that, because that's actually the next place that I kind of wanted to go with both Janet and Justin is because me and our other co-host Bobby are really big gearheads, and so the the one thing I definitely wanted to ask you guys to talk a little bit about are like your guitars. Like, you know, what was it about the ones that you play? Because we're just we love our toys. We're just big fans of toys. And no, just like so, just talk a little bit about like you know when you got into playing, like what your ideal guitars were when you were starting out, and why you're playing what you play now.
For me, when I was young and started getting into guitar, hands down, without a doubt, the Ibanez Gem, the Steve Vai guitars. They were bright. The pickups were different colors, which were unique and different for the time. And you know, my first one that I ever got had the disappearing pyramid inlays, which just weren't common. You had your Ibanez, and you had your Jacksons that were 80s looking guitars, but those to me took it to another level. And as a kid, that was what I cut lawns for, to save up for and buy. And what was funny is I remember taking a whole summer and I was cutting neighbors' grass and stuff, saving up my money. And I happened to walk into a local music store down the street from me, and it was the early 90s at this time, and that scene had started to fade. And they had a bright pink Ibanez Gem on the wall, used for $300. So I'm like, I want it. So I bought it, and it was like, oh, this is great. So that was my main thing for years. And then, like an idiot, I sold it to Guitar Center for $500. And now today I go on places like Reverb, and that same guitar is like $5,000 as a collector's item.
Damn.
And I wish I would have kept it. But yeah, growing up, that was, you know, that and the Marshalls were my main thing. And now, you know, today there's just so many things out there that are just cool. I'm a huge fan of Line 6 and their Helix.
Oh,
and
nice.
I use that for live shows. I use it for recording. So I have the same sounds that I'm, you know, in the studio recording with, and on the road, it doesn't change from night to night with backline and different amplifier cabinets. And I love getting creative and just making unique effects and stuff in it that you can do, and stuff you would just never be able to do with stomp boxes. I love stomp boxes, but I love that everything is just in one place with this. And then Anthony, our bass player, has a company called Moxie that just makes unbelievable guitars. And he's made me two models now, two checkered finish, kind of Telecaster looking models. They almost look like a distorted Rick Nielsen Cheap Trick guitar. And those have been my main touring guitars. But besides that, I've got an EVH, actually, an Eddie Van Halen guitar that is that thing, that guy, nobody knew how to build a guitar like that guy. That thing is just picking it up. It just plays itself. It's amazing to me. And then Janet's even used it a couple times when we were in Australia.
So easy to play.
Yeah.
That's a great guitar.
It's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
So for me, yeah, that's my go-tos is the Helix. And, you know, if they said there's one piece of gear you can't live without ever again, it would be my Helix. I love that thing. It's incredible. So.
That was the name of
And
a
then
band too, right? Helix?
Yep.
Yes. Canadian band.
Canadian
Yes.
band, right? Okay.
Love me some Helix. Yeah. And then I've been driving Janet nuts because I've had my eyes on some Paul Reed Smiths lately, and I've just been kind of looking at those. And one day.
We don't need more guitars. We have lots of guitars. Lots of guitars.
Oh.
I played acoustic guitar growing up, and at one point, you know, my parents didn't understand me playing electric guitar. They're like, "You're not Eric Clapton. What do you want an electric guitar for?" They just saw me as like a folky kind of thing. So I just went and I traded my acoustic guitar in for a crappy, it was called a Vantage guitar, and like a little tiny PDM. So that was my big electric guitar setup. Yeah, and from there I just, you know, I think I got a Charvel after that and loved that. And
You
that
still
got
own it?
stolen. No, it got stolen. It was pink. It was nice. And then, yeah, I got into BC Riches for a while. They made my monster face, and they made only 6 of those. And one guy owns 5 of them, and I own the only other one left.
Wow.
So he came to a gig, and he was like, "Well, how am I going to get that guitar from you?" And I'm like, "You're not." You're not going to complete the set. I'm not letting that guitar go. Yeah, so I played that for most of the like mid to late 80s. Then I got a Les Paul, and that's all I play now, pretty much. Love my Les Paul.
Nice.
Right? Well, I play the EVH in live shows sometimes,
Yeah,
but it's mostly
your Les
mostly
Paul
my
was
Les
your
Paul.
go-to.
But I have to agree with the Helix thing. I mean, it's changed my guitar playing because I was always frustrated trying to play any sort of lead guitar because I never had the right sound. I never had that nice, inspiring, rich sustain. And, you know, I'm not terribly technical. I don't have a lot of patience. If it doesn't sound good quick, I put it down. I'm upset. So it's so easy to make it sound good that, you know, like Justin will come home and I'll be like, well, I played a little outro thing in this song. And he's like, well, that's awesome. Let's keep it.
Yeah.
You know? And so for me, it has changed. It's made it so much easier to actually feel inspired playing like a melody or a little outro or a little solo. So, yeah. Big fan of the Helix too.
And what's cool with something like the Helix is like if I'm in the mood to like play like a John Sykes sound from Whitesnake, which is to me the best distorted sounding guitar period, it's there. If I want to do like an Andy Timmons kind of a little bit cleaner, overdriven sound, it's right there. So if you're in the mood for something, it's just a click of a button and you change it. I mean, it's almost scary how good these things can model other things. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's so great not have to take the time to dial everything in. You know, you push a couple buttons and you're like, wow, that sounds sweet. Technology is amazing. Love it.
Nice. That's super duper cool. Justin, I'm actually looking at a couple of the pictures that I shot from when I shot you guys at that Fish Head show. And I'm looking at the guitar that you're playing in this, and I'm trying to like take a look at the headstock, but I didn't get a lot of, I guess, very good pictures of your headstock. But it looks like it's kind of like a dark, like red amber color. Has a little bit of kind of like a Les Paul like shape to it. I
remember that show. That was right before I got my Moxie. So that show, that's an EVH actually that I was playing.
Oh, you were playing an EVH for that one.
Yeah, it's got the white and black pickups in it.
Yeah.
And, yep, that was the EVH. Yeah, I remember bringing it on the road. I think we had 5 shows we were doing on that run, and I brought that with for all those shows.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, because I'm looking at the date of that show, which was September 15th of 17. So I was like looking at these pictures going like, I don't expect him to remember this. I'm just trying to remind myself since we're talking about guitars.
No, I remember that. We had a blast at that show, and I think it was hotter than hell.
Yeah.
I remember that day. My brother and his wife came in from Chicago because their daughter was living in Annapolis out there. So they came out. So we had family actually at that show too. So it was cool. I do remember that show quite well.
Oh, yeah. No, I do remember that because actually I started the interview just with Janet because you were just making sure that the family was like all good and stuff like that after the show. And it was like, he'll come in eventually. So I just started everything off with Janet and then there you were. And we just went on from there. So that was super duper cool. But right on, you were playing an EVH for that show. That's awesome.
Yep.
Right on, man. Killer. Steve, let's bring you back in, my good dude.
So what can we expect from the new album? Like more ballad, more rock, or where are we at that point? I know you said you had like 6, 7 songs that are tentatively kind of written, but so those 6 or 7 songs, do we expect anything ballady, or are they just all more, you know?
So far, no ballady.
No ballady. A powery ballady song on there, but most of them have kind of been just either driving rock or kind of actually a little more bluesy rock, I think.
Yeah, maybe a little more 70s, a little less 80s-ish, maybe.
Yeah, see, I think there's a lot of 80s still in it. But
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how they you know, how they progress, but I'm definitely feeling a little more bluesy 70s kind of.
Yeah, it's made bluesy 70s, 80s. You can't go wrong with either era. So
No.
Sure. And
Yeah, I mean,
all original on the album, no cover.
oh yeah, no covers, no, all original.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, occasionally we'll like mess around with like a cover or something, but I mean, to me, it's super tricky because, you know, you want to do something different than the original because why bother doing it if you're not gonna, but you don't want to be disrespectful and do something that people are gonna go, oh man, they just butchered it.
Right.
So I think it's a hard thing to do. And I think very few people pull off a great cover.
Yeah.
Very few.
Because it's tough
But
to
maybe we'll find one at some point that will go, yeah, this is it.
But remember, you can do a cover, but then you can do it like a spin off of your own. Like one of the bands I used to manage, and she did a really good cover. Like Adele is an incredible vocalist, as we all love and respect, right?
Yes.
And they did a rock version of what was it? Something in the Rain by Adele, and they made it a rock version, and it was just like wow. And they put up their own flair and spin on it. So if you do a cover, make make it your own.
Key. That's the key. You don't want to do a cover like you're in a cover band, like you're trying to make it.
right.
You gotta make it your own. You have to do something different, or why bother doing it?
Right.
If it's just to be kind of a so-so version of the original.
Right.
And I think that's hard to do. I think it would take the right song and the right.
Yeah, like I remember like the band Jaded Heart from Europe doing a Backstreet Boys song, and just they totally made it like an 80s sounding rock anthem, and it was cool, but it was different because it was rock now instead of obviously the Backstreet Boys.
Nice.
So I think adding your own little twist.
Yeah,
to
I mean,
it
I would like to do that if we, could come up with something that, I'd really love to do like an old like Motown song, but I don't know if you'd be that into that.
Yeah.
But we'll figure something out. I
Cool.
wouldn't mind doing it.
Or NWA, something like that.
Like a Public Enemy song.
Absolutely.
I can hear Jonathan.
Oh my God.
Right on.
We're deteriorating here quickly.
How do you try to keep like what you're working on for your current albums and your future albums, like how do you try to keep that like different and unique, like not only like for you guys but also to make it like something different, because of course you're going to have all of these like influences and all that kind of stuff from obviously your previous albums that you did with Vixen, and then Justin, you had your music that you've done solo and stuff like that over like all the years and stuff like that. Do you ever have like a conflict of like trying to make it not so much like the old, like any old days, or do you feel there's always going to be a touch of that kind of influence?
I think there'll always be a touch of it there. I mean, we try to not repeat the same thing twice, but it's almost impossible, I think, because you have your own style and that's who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best thing that you can do is, just do what comes out. Because I think if you try to plan or try to do something different, or you're trying to force anything, I think it's disingenuous. I think you have to kind of do what's in your heart and what comes out. And I think a lot of times, when we try to overthink it, that's when things don't go right.
Right.
So whatever comes out, and I don't think that will dramatically change what we do, because it is what we do. It's what we do together. And even though a lot of times things will sound a lot different, we'll be like, whoa, is this too out of left field? Is this like not fit with the rest of the album? You know, because we did Talk to Myself on Synergy was totally out of left field.
Yeah.
It was completely different than anything we'd ever done. It was just weird. But, you know, I came down and Justin's like, is this too weird? I'm like, no, I dig it. It's fun. This is fun. So we just went with it. And, you know, it was something kind of different, but it was interesting. A lot of people love that song.
Right.
So
Yeah.
You just got to do kind of what you feel. And if people go, oh, it sounds like dated 80s stuff. Well, you know, that's where we came from.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I mean, we try to make it fresh and we try to make it mean something, you know. And so if we feel like it means something, then we'll share it with people.
Agreed.
Absolutely, for sure. So have you guys been reached out to about playing like some of these like cruise type things as well? Because like Justin, I know you played actually with Taiketo on the Monsters of Rock cruise.
Right.
But have you guys been in contact about getting out on some of these cruises with your guys' project?
Well, we're doing 80s in the Sand, which is like a similar thing. It's not a cruise, but it's in a 4-star resort, which is even better than being on a boat, in my opinion. But no, honestly, Vixen's manager does most of those cruises.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, highly unlikely that we'll be doing any of that. But, you know, we did it. I did about 4 of them with Vixen. Justin, you did the 2 with Taiketo.
Right.
We did the West Coast and one of the
East Coast of Florida one, and they're great. They're awesome, and it's a great spot to go see multiple bands in one spot. But like this 80s in the Sand thing that we're doing in Cancun at the end of this month, it's essentially the same thing. I think it's us, Billy Idol, Cheap Trick, Firehouse, Tesla, but you know you're stationary, you're on land, and one of the cool things, it's all inclusive. So you get the drinks and the food and everything else included with it, and you can actually walk around and go into town if you want to go into town or something. You're not confined to a boat.
yeah.
So we're psyched for that.
And we're going to be there for a week, and we have 1 show.
Yeah, the bands play 1 show, so it's
Vacation.
yeah. So we are super stoked for that, and
and it's sold out. So
yeah,
it's gonna be really good. We're excited about that.
Rock show.
Yeah, I mean, if any of the other cruise stuff comes up or whatever, yeah, I mean, we do it. We love doing it.
yeah.
But if it doesn't happen, that's okay too. We've done it. Been there, done that.
Absolutely. Very, very cool. Angel, let's kick it up to you, buddy. How are the Summoners doing?
They're doing super awesome.
Right on.
Definitely got a question from Bobby Leonard. He wants to know, can you tell me about Jan and your fondest memory?
Oh, hi, Bobby. So many fond memories of her, from, you know, very personal stuff to musical stuff. She was just such a kind, wonderful person. So I have a lot of memories from her before we got signed, before any, you know, big anything happened for us. And we were all living in a house together. And I had this cat, and the cat used to love to sleep in Jan's hair. So every morning she would get up and she'd be like, man, your cat was like all tangled up in my hair all night. But she was so nice. She's, you know, she would never hurt the poor cat. But I don't know. I have so many great memories and so many great stories. She was just wonderful to work with, too. Obviously because of her talent and her just kind heart. You know, some of the bigger stuff, obviously, you know, it got very exciting when, you know, we first knew that KLOS in LA was going to play Edge of a Broken Heart. And I just remember like being in a room just screaming and jumping around and crying and going crazy because, you know, we heard that something like that was going to happen to us little girls in the girl band. So those are some great stories about her. And, you know, like I said, we spent quite a few years together before anything happened. And we were just, you know, working jobs and trying to get by. And that's actually some of my best memories of her was, you know, back when we had nothing but each other. So, yeah, thanks for that nice question, Ellen.
Such.
Great person.
Awesome.
We definitely got another question from Angie. Not sure we completely answered it, but question was, if you were to do a cover song, what would it be?
Like
Right,
I said,
two different opinions here.
yeah, I would want to do like an old Motown song or something and rock it out. Something bluesy and, I don't know, attitude-y.
I would like to do like "Shot in the Dark" by Ozzy. I
Nice.
think. Yeah, Jakey Lee's playing on that song, and just the feel and the vibe of that song is.
I mean, a lot of people have done it though,
I know.
and a lot of people have done great, beautiful versions of that song.
True.
Acoustic and yeah, I mean, it's hard to find something that someone else already hasn't done. And actually, there was one that I wanted to do that Miley Cyrus did.
What's that?
I can't remember what it was now.
That's good.
No, but you know, I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard to find something. Like, I'll think of something and then I'll go on YouTube and I'll, you know, try to find if anybody else has covered it. It's like, sure enough, there's like 3 or 4 bands that, you know, have covered whatever song it was. So, Angie, I don't know. If you have any ideas, shoot them over.
I will tell you though, speaking of Miley Cyrus, there's a video on YouTube of her playing, I think, like Ultimate Jam Night or something like that. I got to tell you, she did an absolutely slamming version of Zombie by the Cranberries.
Really?
Yeah, it was pretty fantastic. I was watching it going like, wow. I mean, I'm not particularly a Miley Cyrus fan, but I don't really have a problem. But I don't have a problem with her either. You know, I think she's cool for what she does and has her unique spin on things. But yeah, I just stumbled across this kind of like Ultimate Jam Night or like Rockin' Bowl kind of thing where she did a cover of Zombie, and I definitely thought it was quite excellent. It was very,
Oh, we'll check that out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't dislike her. I don't.
Yeah.
You know, I thought the song "The Climb." I thought she did a very great, moving performance of that song. I love that song.
For sure,
So.
definitely. Still with you, Angel.
No, just reading. Well, a couple of the comments. Was it "Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds" that Miley Cyrus did? Let's see. I have no clue.
No, and I can't remember what it was. I think it might have been a country song.
Jolene?
No, but she nailed that one too.
Freaking incredible.
Yeah.
And she also did a Stevie Nicks cover, Edge of 18. I think it was called.
I'll try to think of it. No, it wasn't that either.
Okay.
What was that? Do you remember?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I remember. Like, actually, I remember I was pulling through a drive-through when I found it for some reason. I thought I texted it to you. Like, shoot, I wanted to do this. Miley Cyrus already did it. Anyway,
I don't remember.
we're deteriorating again. Brain's going.
Don't feel bad. We got the same problem.
Brain fog!
Yeah, well, I had brain surgery, so I've literally got to screw loose.
Here's my question. How do you come up with set list?
That's tough, especially.
We fight about it.
Right, we do go back and
We
forth.
duke it out, and
Well, especially now that we have 3 albums.
I usually lose, actually.
That's not true.
You talk me into doing stuff I don't want to do.
But we have 3 albums, and then of course, there's some of the Vixen songs that just people expect that you would got to put them in there.
Right. It was easy at first because we only had 1 album, so we played pretty much the whole thing.
Right.
But now, yeah, we try to like represent each album. Like currently, our set list has like 2 songs from each album and a few Vixen songs.
Right.
But yeah, it becomes more difficult as to like what songs we do and what order to do them in.
Yeah, I mean, I just remember, going to shows and like seeing bands like Skid Row on like Slave to the Grind, and the way they'd open that. I mean, it's just the energy and the power that they had, and even like Kiss, when they would open with like "I Stole Your Love" or something that just had this drive. I for a live show, I want to feel driven. I want to feel the energy, and I mean, of course, you got to do some power ballads and other things in there. But I think a live show, again, the world, we're going through a hard time. The world sucks in a lot of ways. I like to go to my shows and escape and just have fun and forget about all the BS that's going on out there. And so I want to do the fast songs and the driving songs live.
Well, and that's a problem for us because a lot of our, favorite songs and people's favorites of ours are ballady.
Right.
So, and we have to play crying. So that takes up one of the ballad spots. And if you're only doing an hour, there's stuff that we can't do. Like the song Candle, a lot of people really love that song and want us to play it.
Yeah.
But there's too many ballads if we do that.
Right.
So, because
It is
then
tough.
the way to your heart, we have to put that in there too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's tough to include everything you want to include and get the pacing right.
True.
Yeah. I remember when I saw you guys on your first tour, when you came back, you opened up with "If You Want Me," which I thought was very cool.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's so
Yeah.
funny you said that because we were just talking about we've been opening with Flamethrower.
Oh,
which
okay.
has been great, but I wanted to open it with "If You Want Me Again." I loved that. Starting with that song, and I miss it, and I want to open with that again, but Justin doesn't want to.
No. Let me explain for different reasons.
Explain, honey.
As guitar players, guitars are certain, different tunings and things like that. And when you're going out with an EVH with a Floyd Rose on it, or a different guitar with a Floyd Rose, and you have to change your tuning, it's not easy. And that, "If You Want Me," is in drop D. So with a Floyd Rose, knock everything else out of tune. I would love to open with that, but and of course, even
Figure it out.
Figure it out.
It's got the D tuna on it, which is a kick-ass system.
Which my buddy invented.
Really, I love it.
Ooh.
But stupid me, I put a different gauge of strings on there and I completely whacked the thing out. So now when I do my D tuna, it doesn't work the way it should work. So
I need to get you in touch with my buddy Adam Reaver at FU-Tone.
I would love that.
Fix it for you so we can open with "If You Want Me."
I would love that. But okay, that's my reasoning for with that situation. I do love opening that song, and I do love that. It's the first song we ever did together. We ever wrote together.
It is. It's a very special song, and I like the way that it comes in.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just. Anyway,
No,
see now you got us.
Now we're fighting about
That's-
the set list.
That's my fault. I'm sorry. But
What do you mean? How is that your fault, Angel? I'm the one who brought it up.
but I asked a question
I'm the
about the
one that
set
was at the
list.
show.
Oh, but my fault.
It's
Who's,
all
all
good.
right. All right. Who's meowing? I know it's not Steve.
My cat.
No, Motley's KO. He's
Aww. Let me see the kitty.
yeah.
Oh, Angie thinks that she should make the set list. She's your biggest fan and knows all the words.
All right.
All right.
Well, Angie, write a comment with the five songs that you need Justin and Janet to open with. That's what you get to do. Give us your first 5 songs that they get to start their set with. And while
All
Angie-
right. Well, I'm dying to see this actually.
So that'll be super duper fun. So
If
Angie,
you want me
this,
to open.
this is part of the crowd participation part of our show. Yeah. There you go. First one she writes in, if you want me. Yes.
I love you, Angie. A girl.
I think Ed wrote that down. I don't think that's really Angie.
Well, while Angie's putting that together, Mr. Bobby Dreyer, let's get you involved, my bro.
What a hell of a day.
Yeah, that's a
I
rough
think
one, my good dude.
I had more shit up my nose than Richard Pryor. I'm like,
Oh my goodness.
Uh-oh.
I had
Wow.
two COVID tests today, one positive, one negative
Wow.
In one day?
in one day. I feel like a push me, pull you. It's like, fuck.
See, I think I had a false positive too.
did?
I had, everybody at my work, somebody tested positive, so we all had to get tested. So I did one of the ones with the app on the phone, you know, and it comes with a little kit, and you do that. And
Yeah.
that one came out positive. So then I had to go get a real one, and it was negative. So
Yeah, that's how mine was. That's exactly what it was. You know, and I'm like sitting here going, whoever thought you could put a thing up your nose and then your iPhone's going to tell you, you know. I'm like,
I know. It's like, you know, said it right.
next thing I know, my iPhone's going to be a rectal thermometer.
Oh, that's a pretty picture.
That'll be the iPhone 15 or whatever it is. You know,
Right.
It'll come in brown. No.
It'll come with a stylus, and then you can take it out. And,
Oh, but no, other than that, so, you know, we mentioned, so today, Justin, as you can see, it's the 1 year, and I don't even like using the word anniversary, but it's the year passing since Ed.
Yeah, unbelievable.
And yeah, it was. I mean, how is that? You know, I love that you talked about the whole thing of, you know, the detuners and everything. My buddy Adam Reaver, Adam worked with Ed. He's done a lot. He came into the whole development of the detuner, doing everything with locking trims. Not Floyd Rose with him, but. What is your whole interaction and with Ed? I mean, how has he affected your playing over all these years?
I mean, obviously, you know, the finger tapping and, you know, his feel and his side. I mean, he was just incredible at what he did, and just even like the drop D stuff, and you know, you know, when you think of some of the old Van Halen songs, he was doing stuff like that before a lot of other people were doing it, and just making it sound so good. And I mean, it's still surreal to me to think that he's not here. And I was seeing stuff, you know, going around today about the year anniversary, and again, I just can't believe it's been a year. It's unbelievable. And they said not only just a player, but like when we were talking about like the EVHs and things like that, I mean, he was a genius when it came to putting those guitars together. I mean, just a mad science. I mean, it's amazing at what he can do in his sounds, and just unreal, unbelievable, and just changed the course of music as soon as they came out. It was just unbelievable.
Very cool. Am I getting an echo?
yes.
All right. Let me fix that. Go ahead.
No worries,
I
man.
apologize.
Steve, let's kick it over to you, my good dude.
So how do you guys split your time from your profession, as far as in being the rock stars that you are, to being parents? And then being, you know, doing stuff that besides, because I know you guys love recording and being together, but it's hard to split, you know, your musical career, your other career, and then your career of being parents. How do you balance it out? And
I mean, we definitely, you know, I mean, as kids are difficult for us, we put them through a lot too with it. I mean, as far as our music goes, they have to hear the same song over and over again about 10,000 times until we get it right or mixed just right.
Yeah, I mean, it is hard to balance everything for sure. And, you know, we'll go through periods of time where, you know, something will be taking a lot of our time. either, something for one of the kids, one of our kids, or something for one of our jobs. So I think, as long as we just sort of make a little bit of time for ourselves, no matter what it is, even if, it's 20 minutes, we just make sure that we do that. And I think we're okay if we just make a little bit of time for ourselves and for each other.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a blessing when we get like a few hours to go work on music downstairs by ourselves or something. Like I was saying, oh, yay, it's just such a treat when we get to do that because we love it so much. But I think, it's all a balancing act like anybody else. You have to allow time for things. And once in a while, something will take a priority for the moment. And there's nothing you could do except deal with whatever the priority is at the moment.
And to piggyback off of that, do your kids like your music?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I mean, no matter what, to them, we're uncool.
Yeah, we talked about this before. Yeah, I mean, we're parents. We're totally uncool. No matter how cool we are, we're still uncool.
Right.
Somebody just disagreed. What, do you think we're cool, Ryan?
Absolutely.
He does think we're cool. And they do. They do like our music.
Yeah.
They like to make fun of it because, what kid doesn't make fun of their parents? So occasionally there will be something they'll make fun of, like when Ashton kept hearing that same line over and over again. Remember he walked around singing it?
Oh, right.
Like,
The little
oh,
one.
God. Yeah, he was making fun of it. He was singing it funny because he was tired of hearing it over and over again. But yeah, they'll pick different songs, like Lennon will go, oh, I really like this song. This is great. And they'll pick out little things in the songs too. Like I remember, I'll never forget the time it was on Synergy and I put these bells in there and they were like church bells. And I was talking to Justin and I sent him a version of it because he was at work. And he goes, yeah, no, it sounds really cool, but I don't know about the doorbell in there. I'm like, doorbell? They're church bells. So we were in the car and we played a version and London was in the back seat. And she goes, that's awesome. There's church bells in there. I go, thank you. I get it. She heard the right thing. I don't know about the doorbell. Doorbell. So our kids are also helpful because, I won that one because the church bells were cool. The doorbell, what he thought wasn't cool.
Needless to say, I got thrown down the stairs that night, but we don't need to talk about that.
Hey, the church bells stayed.
No, but we do it at the end of the day. I mean, we do our best to balance it. And, most of the time it is focused on the kids. I mean, they're the most important part. And, and then we try to find time for us. And then, if we can find time to break away and do the music stuff, we do it. And, I mean, we're lucky. I mean, our kids are older now. Our youngest is 13. Then we have a 16-year-old and an 18-year-old. So they've got their own devices and everything, keeps them busy and occupied. So it allows us more free time to get stuff done and do what we want to do. So
Yeah, it's a balancing act, but we,
You make it work.
we've managed to, really make it work.
yeah.
Sweet.
We're happy.
Right on.
For sure. Bobby, I'm actually going to kick it back down to you, bud.
So, what is next on the agenda for you two? I see you have Cancun in the works, but any other U.S. dates coming up?
We actually just booked a new day. We thought Cancun was going to be the end of it for the year. And we thought, okay, that's great. We'll go out with a bang and go to Cancun, Mexico and stay at this resort for a couple of days.
And then come home and, get down in the studio because winter
that's when we
is
do
when
most
we
of our
really
work.
because it's cold, it's nasty. you know, we're kind of huddled in the house anyway, so we just go down and work on music. But yeah.
Yeah, and then, but as of last night, we just got a new show that we're going to be doing in November in Ohio. So we're going out to Ohio in the middle of November.
Yeah, it's the Cincinnati area.
Yeah, Cincinnati. So we're excited. We'll keep it going, and then after that, then we'll lock ourselves away and finish the next album, and then hopefully 2022 is going to be open.
Well, yeah, no, we're supposed to do Hard Rock Hell.
Oh, right, we're going to the UK. We've got a UK tour.
And we're
in
supposed to do a
March.
couple more dates there.
Right.
So hopefully that happens and COVID doesn't do something crazy between now and then.
Yeah.
Because we'll have our vaccination passports ready
Yes.
to go.
Yeah, so it's cool. So yeah, I forgot about the Hard Rock Hell. So yeah, we're going over there, and what's cool is that's a lot of the European bands that are kick ass. I mean, I think we're with Crash Diet and Reckless Love, and I'm trying to think of who else is on there. There's a lot of
Is
bands.
Crazy Licks on it?
I think they are.
I thought I saw them on there.
It's a lot of cool bands that you just don't get to see in America over there. So we're excited about that too.
I'm a
Who
big.
are you
Crash
playing
Diet
with in
guy.
Ohio?
Oh, I don't know. It just popped up last night, and we accepted the offer.
So far, just us that we know of. Maybe local bands.
And if they can't, then our drummer Richie and our bass player Anthony, they do a juggling act before we go out and play. And I don't know. So yeah, probably some locals.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely super cool. Like I'm a big Crash Diet guy, so I think that's like super duper awesome that you get to play with those guys. Like I'm big into a lot of those like Finnish and Swedish bands. Like I love Crash Diet, I love Hardcore Superstar, I love that.
Oh, we were just listening to them.
all
Know
that.
them too.
So that's definitely super duper cool. Angel, I'm going to kick it over to you, buddy. And also on that same note, fans, it is last call for alcohol. So get your final questions and comments into the sections, or Janet and Justin, send in all of your set lists so we can really drive them crazy. But get your final questions and comments in because it is last call for alcohol, fans. Angel, take it away.
While someone completed their homework assignment on time, I'm gonna pop it up
All right,
from
what do we
Angie
have?
in no particular order. If you want me,
Rise
Wounded.
Up. Nice.
Wounded, The Good or the Bye,
Wounded, The Good Goodbye.
The Grind, or Rise Up.
No. Oh man, heavy duty.
She did that in a good amount of time.
I like that, Angie. That's good.
Yeah, it is good. Yeah, we'll definitely do it if you want me. We're definitely playing Wounded. The Good or the Bad, maybe. We haven't played The Grind in like forever.
Yeah. Well, I think the last
And
time we played
Rise
that
Up,
was...
we haven't tried that one yet live, but it's a good song.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that, Angie. Great job.
Yeah, nice work.
And gonna bring a fan question from Jeannie. Rat Hole is one of my favorite songs. What instigated this song?
Ooh. Yeah, I remember at that time period, I was really, really big into 6 a.m. I really loved DJ Ashba and his playing, and all the way back from like Beautiful Creatures, especially with Beautiful Creatures. And I was listening a lot to that, and I think that inspired a lot of that main riff to that song for me, coming up with the music portion of it, and then you took it and then created the whole...
Yeah, and I remember the groove was different. It
Yeah,
was more of a shuffle, like
right.
And then somehow we ended up doing a different drum pattern, and it became more straight. And I was like, "Oh, I like that better." Yeah, and then that was a long time ago. That was a few years ago. I don't remember exactly what happened after that. I remember you coming up with that riff, and then we did the rest of it together.
Yeah.
We just sat there and worked it out. And then I remember over the riff, there was really nothing happening. And then I came up with the na, 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 na.
I remember
and,
that.
and I remember I was afraid to play it for you because I didn't know if you'd like it.
Yeah, I remember I was out of the house or I was somewhere. I might
Yeah.
have been in Chicago visiting family or something, and you sent it to me, and I'm like, oh my God, that's great.
Yeah, I didn't know if you'd like it. I was
loved
kind of
it.
nervous. I thought, oh, I hope he doesn't think I'm ruining the riff and stepping on it. But yeah,
Yeah.
and then the lyrics that, you know, we definitely wanted to have some edge. And I'm trying to think. Oh, never mind. Yeah, and then then we wanted to have some edge, and so I thought of some things that made me mad and put it in there. And it worked out. Yeah, we love playing that song. We play that every night.
Yeah, I don't think there's been a show we haven't played
There
that.
hasn't been a show we haven't played that song. So, yeah, good stuff.
Nice.
There you go.
I have a question for Janet. When you're on the road, how do you maintain your voice while you're on the road? Do you not speak on day of shows? Do you have anything that you do to maintain it when you're touring?
It's funny that you say that because, you know, we don't play that much now. So I don't really have to worry that much about it because, you know, we're not doing 5-6 nights a week. You know, we've been doing weekend stuff and we haven't really done that much. So I haven't really had to worry about it that much. But I do know that the worst thing that I do that I have to be careful of is after the show, talking to people and screaming too much, you know, because there's always still music going on and you're trying to talk to people. And I noticed, like, after the show, my voice feels fine. But after hanging around for an hour after the show, screaming and laughing and talking to people, then it doesn't feel fine. So for me, it's really challenging because you want to, that's part of the fun of it, is the after show stuff, is hanging out with the band, hanging out with bands, talking to people and having fun. So, yeah, I mean, back in the day when we were doing tons of shows, I would always kind of hit this peak, like, the first week of like a tour, I would be like, oh, things started to feel funny after a few days. And so I would be kind of careful and I would try to warm up before the shows and stuff. And then like towards the middle of the tour, I would be like in a groove and it was kind of pretty much every night was fine. And then towards the end, after a couple of months of constant slamming every night, then I would start to get tired, and so I just had to make sure that I slept a lot. I think sleep is just paramount. So, you know, these days, like I said, we haven't toured that kind of touring that's like brutal on your voice, so hasn't been a huge concern.
Cool. I'm gonna kick it right back up to Jay.
Yeah, no worries, man. Yeah, and so it's just kind of like a fun little question for me. And the guys are gonna laugh because they're gonna have to suffer through this question for the next 4 weeks because it's me. It's October. Are you guys horror movie people? And if you are, what's your favorite horror movie?
Oh God, yes, I am big time. Oh God, there's so many of them. I'm a huge fan of the 70s and 80s horror movies.
Sure.
If I want something really twisted and kind of just a little more, but mainstream, so like the Hellraiser movies. I mean, the original, the first couple, holy crap. I remember being a kid and just being terrified and thinking those were so twisted being younger. But I'm also a huge fan. Like, I love like the Trick or Treat movie that came out a couple years ago with the little guy, the Sam or whatever I think they call him. Yeah. I'm super psyched for the new Halloween movie that's coming out next week.
That looks really good.
Yeah. I mean, I love horror movies, and I love like some of this, like the 70s ones, just because of the vibe that they have, and just from like the music and the lighting and everything. I just think it's just kind of, kind of creepy and cool. A lot of the Italian ones, like the movie, I think it's called Demons or something from 1985, the Italian movie where they're in the movie theater and
Suspiria.
Yes, that's awesome stuff. Yeah, I'm a horror nut, so
Nice.
that's usually when she falls asleep. I'll sneak one of those on or something and watch it.
I like a good horror
You do
movie once in a while. I mean, I liked that vampire one on the plane.
Oh, right, the newer one, the German.
Yeah,
one.
it was this German vampire. They were on an airplane.
It was on Netflix.
Thinking there was a good vampire lady and a bad. It was good. I like the Saw movies a lot. I liked the Hellraiser movies too back then.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the classics. I like The Exorcist. I like those kinds of The Conjuring. I like those.
Yeah.
Possession movies and things like that. I'm not much of a just slasher gore kind of person, but I like thrillery kind of movies.
Nice.
Now and then.
That's always kind of been my thing. Like, I mean, I grew up on the 80s psycho slash stuff, so I love all that stuff. I mean, Jason's always been my ride or die guy, and I love that kind of stuff, but I love any kind of like demonic possession type movie. So I love The Exorcist, I love The Conjuring, and Annabelle, and Insidious, and Curse of La Llorona. So like I'm super duper into those things. But Justin, you'll probably like this if you're into those kind of like 70s horror movies. I was telling a story recently about like the first horror movie that did like irreparable damage to me as a young kid, but I love it now. But it's an old Hugh Grant movie called Lair of the White Worm. It's very like psychedelic, has to deal with like demons and like succubuses, but it also has like a lot of phallic imagery. So watching that movie at a slumber party at like 6 years old, I was not mature enough to be able to handle that yet. But I absolutely love it now. It's fantastic. But yeah, it's an old Hugh Grant movie from either the late 70s or very early 80s called Lair of the White Worm. And if you're into that weird kind of psychedelic, kind of strange weirdness, I think you would dig that one.
Absolutely. Cool. Yeah, I'll check it out. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure, man.
I liked Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Soundtracks in those movies are great. Like a Dawkins.
God, yes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
All those 80s slasher movies had the best soundtracks.
Well, then you had, what was it, Freddy 2, which was the gayest one of them all.
Yep. I just watched the documentary on that, actually. Yeah.
Actually, wasn't he supposed to be? Wasn't there like a talk about that? Like,
Yeah, it was Scream Queens or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's the documentary. Yeah. It's fantastic. I watched it. It's about Mark, who starred as the hero of that movie, but you know, talking about being in the closet back in Hollywood at that time, and that movie just happened to be very written, very with like a lot of different style, let's just say. But no, it's true, Bobby. It's a fantastic documentary. If you haven't watched it, it's really good.
What's it called?
It's called Scream Queen.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah. So it's really cool. Yeah, it's about, you know, Mark coming into Hollywood to try to make it as an actor, gets the gig as the hero of Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. So he was really excited about what this could do for his career, but based off, you know, what he's dealing with in his private life versus, you know, the movie being written with a lot of kind of homosexual undertones, and then, you know, and then him having to kind of deal with the after effects. It's pretty crazy. But Bobby, why don't you stay with it, bro? Because it's your segment now. Your mic, buddy.
Mute. Unmute. Mute.
Mute. There's my mute. So, if we're going that whole route, has there been the strangest opening band you guys had and go, this is just bizarre? I mean, see, I knew I would go that route, and I want to hear
you never know who's watching, though.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want
You don't have to mention names. Look, it can't be any worse than, you know.
There was one that had an original song that they played that had the funniest lyrics ever, but they were serious.
They were like the hometown heroes of like their childhood and stuff, and they were talking about how they were paying tribute to somebody who had passed away, and it was their big hit back in the day. And
we were
all like,
expecting some touching, you know, ballad, beautiful, you know, tribute to a fallen.
What the fuck was it like?
Something about
you?
fists.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna fist
I'm
you.
gonna fist you.
Wow.
Did you guys open up for KCDC?
Oh,
It was hilarious. We were all looking at each other because we were in the back.
yeah.
In the dressing room, we could hear this. You know, we could hear all this going on.
Yeah.
We were dying. It was,
We
it
were.
was something about I'm gonna fist you.
Oh, what the hell? Our drummer Richie, he just brought it up when we were on the roof.
Yeah,
of the
you
last
need to
show.
talk to Richie about that.
Yeah, and it was like, oh my god, I forgot all about that. It was.
He remembers it well because he just brought it up the other day. So yeah, we've had some good ones
Yeah.
and some very entertaining times.
Yes.
Well, how'd you guys follow that one up?
It was hard.
We didn't. We almost
Yeah.
Hard.
Yeah, we thought, man, that's it. We can't top that.
Yeah.
Certainly not lyrically.
No.
Wow.
Oh
Sorry.
God, I wish I remembered what that was.
I know it was something. It was something about fist.
Like fist you were.
But that wasn't exactly. It was something really, really funny like
Yeah.
that. Like
I hope you guys brought then your own mics after that, because you're like, really?
She had her own mic. Me and Anthony. we got fucked.
You guys. Oh, good times. Good times. I hope Richie's watching this.
Me too.
We should see if he's texting us about what the. Oh, it would be on there. Never mind.
All right, Jay, I'm done with the fisting.
No worries, dude. Actually,
Mr. Fister?
this just came up as a question from a fan, but it came to me. Are you aware of the kind of more towards you, Justin? But are you aware of the Strangeland movie that Dee Snider did in the late 90s?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good one too. I mean, there was a song too I remember that he had at the end of that movie or something I thought was freaking great. Oh God, I can't remember the name of it right now, but it was, what was it, Captain Howdy or something?
Captain Howdy, yeah.
Yes, yeah. No,
That was a great movie.
Yeah. Yeah, no, she hit me up and was like, "Are you? You probably are," but I was like, "Are you aware of this movie?" I was like, "I know everything about that movie. I have that movie." I was like, "That movie's absolutely fantastic."
Yes.
But that's super cool. I figured you would be all over that one for sure. But I mean, that was another movie that had also a great soundtrack too, because you had like the Backyard Babies were on that soundtrack, and
right.
And they did the song "Heroes Are Hard to Find."
That's the song. Yes.
Is that the one you're thinking of?
That is the one. I love that. When I heard that in the movie, I'm like, oh, this is great.
Here's the answer to that previous fan question. What song does Justin want to cover? That would be awesome.
Oh yeah.
That there's a song that you're not going to find 4 other bands already did a cover of.
Exactly. That's true. Yes.
So Heroes Are Hard to Find. And sometime when you guys get time, you're going to have to pull up that song and see what you guys think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been a long time since I heard it, but yeah, I definitely will.
Have you played that for me before?
I don't think I haven't. I played you Widowmaker.
I loved that.
Yeah, Widowmaker, wasn't that Al Petrilli?
Yeah.
Right?
Widowmaker. Oh my God, is that solid?
Yeah, it's good.
Dude, those the Widowmaker stuff was so good.
Yeah.
My favorite horror movie soundtrack though is from the movie. What was it called? Desmond Child's on it. Paul Stanley's on it.
Shocker.
Shocker.
Yep.
Love that soundtrack.
That soundtrack's actually really good. Well, Justin, you mentioned Trick or Treat, but are you familiar with the movie Trick or Treat that had Ozzy and Gene Simmons in it?
And Fastway did the whole soundtrack. Yes.
Exactly. Dude, I love that soundtrack. So I've always
good.
I always try to get picked up for like an interview with Dave King every time Flogging Molly comes to town. And I've never been picked up, but I will get it only because I like Flogging Molly a lot. And we'll be able to do the whole interview about Flogging Molly, but I am totally going to bring my Trick or Treat CD just to see if I can beg him into signing.
That would be awesome.
I own the cowboy hat that Gene's wearing in the movie.
Oh, nice, dude.
Yeah, that's what influenced me to be on the radio. Is when his name was Nuke.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he gave me the hat. I have to find it.
Yeah, but Trick or Treat with Fastaway is definitely one of my straight up favorite soundtracks. Like possibly
So good.
ever. It's just so good from top to bottom. Angel, let me kick it over to you, buddy. As we finish things up, I want to make sure all the fans get acknowledged.
Sure. I'm trying to ask this question with a straight face. Angie Perkins.
Oh, Angie, you really are a fan.
I can never do one with a straight face.
She wants me to ask about the squishy wiener story.
Squishy weenie.
I'm going to grab a beer out of the fridge.
Hey,
You can
hey,
rock
hey,
for a
hey.
second.
He left Janet to tell this story.
The squishy weenie. Well, the squishy weenie is Anthony, our bass player, is the keeper of the sacred squishy weenie. We have had it every gig since he got the squishy weenie. We were in nowhere in Scotland, and we pulled over into this weird deserted town. It was like American Werewolf in Scotland.
Very
Kind of
horror.
vibe. It was weird. There was no people anywhere. So we go into this little convenience store. It was the only place we could find, and they had these weird little, like, coffees in these weird cups, and just, it was very weird. So the one thing, they did have some touristy stuff, like, I think I got an I Love Scotland mug or something, and so we picked up a few little items, and Anthony comes out with a keychain with this squishy weenie. It's like a hot dog thing.
It's like a bagel dog, I think, kind of, right?
Sort of wrapped, yeah. But anyway, so it just became a thing. We would pass it around in the van, and everyone would have their turn with the squishy weenie. And
No. Let's go clear. Anthony and Janet passed it around. Richie and me were like, no.
Okay, fine. Anthony and I were playing with the squishy weenie, and it was very stressful because I was driving the whole tour, and you drive on the other side of the car, and Justin was ready to jump out the window a few times, so it was a good stress reliever to have this squishy weenie with us. And so it just happened that it had to come to all the gigs, and it just became this thing that if we didn't have it, we knew we were going to have a bad gig. So the squishy weenie started to appear everywhere. It started to appear in the beginning of videos and subliminally in little bits of the videos, and it's just become kind of a thing. But it originated in Scotland. We were all bored.
That's awesome.
That's the squishy weenie story, and it still to this day has been at every show, except one, and it sucked.
Oh, you have to talk to
Need I
Anthony.
say more? Need I say more?
Yep. Nice. Angel, keep rolling with it, bud.
Since we're coming to the end of the show, where can fans find you as far as website and Facebook? Where can fans find you for upcoming tour dates, especially with the tour date coming up in Cincinnati?
Probably just our website. If you just look up Janet Gardner, it's under janetgardnermusic.com.
Yes, janetgardnermusic.com, and then Facebook. We're not the greatest with Facebook these days, but we definitely keep we try to keep it updated, especially with the show and whatnot that's happening. So there's the Janet Gardner Facebook fan book page. Then we have our personal pages: Janet Gardner, Justin James, Instagram, Planet Janet Rocks, I think, and then YouTube under, is it Planet Janet Rocks that we have it under?
Yeah, same thing there.
Yeah, we're terrible that we don't even know then what the hell the addresses are.
I know, but the website's a good bet.
Yeah.
You know.
Thank you, Ryan. Ryan, put your website up.
Oh, thank you. I mean, Ryan's the man. He's kind of the master man behind the scenes for us. So thank you.
Yeah. Social media is not my forte these days. But yeah, we'll definitely have the dates listed there, and we will put them events on Facebook and all that stuff.
Right on. Super duper awesome. And Bobby, I'll kick it down to you for the final question if you've got one, bro. No worries, my man.
He has to unmute.
Yeah, I'm unmuted. There I am. So, is there anybody that you guys would like to do a collab with? You know, once things start going, is there any artist that you guys would go, this would be the coolest thing to do? It doesn't even have to be of the 80s genre. It could be somebody newer that you would really like to, you know, throw it out there and just see, you know, it could be anybody from Jared James Nichols, Billie Eilish, you know, outside of your genre box.
Wow. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, for me as a guitar player, John Sykes is probably my favorite guitar player ever. I would love to bounce ideas back and forth and do a guitar collaboration, I think, or Jakey Lee. I mean, the two of them are my favorites. Vocalist wise for me, I mean, and maybe not as much these days, but Paul Stanley's just, he's just incredible to me. And then, Mark Free from King Cobra, Unruly Child, just phenomenal voice.
Yeah, I couldn't keep up with that though.
Absolutely,
So,
you could.
No, so
Yes.
I wouldn't want to do that. It made me look bad.
Janet, is there somebody that you know, really wanted to work with? Would you think of doing a duet or, you know?
Well, you know, I mean, I loved working with Richard Marx. I really, really enjoyed working with him. So I love those kind of songwriter guys. So, I mean, anybody like that, I would love to work with, like John Mayer or somebody like that would be just amazing. Somebody that's got that amazing writer thing. I mean, somebody like that who writes great lyrics. And, you know, I mean, there's so many people out there that write amazing songs, but I love writing with him more than anything in the world. So, I mean, we have talked about that before about,
Right.
you know, maybe, you know, it would be good to bring somebody else in to kind of mix it up, or even a producer possibly, and at some point we probably will do that. We'll probably bring in, you know, somebody if we start to need a little bit of input of some sort. I'm sure we will, but we haven't really discussed it very much. So I don't know. That's
Now,
a good question.
you mentioned, you know, John Mayer, but John did a song with Chris Stapleton, which is, you know, that's what I was thinking. Somebody outside the box, maybe Keith Urban.
Yeah, and I love, you know, that collaboration that Ed Sheeran and Bruno Mars and the country guy, they did a song that is just kick ass. What was that song? It's like a Hendrixy. Do you guys know what song I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Anyway, those three guys collaborated on a song, and it is just kick-ass. So I think a lot of times when people do that, it brings in like a new excitement or something
you
a little different for all of them.
Are you talking about the song "Blow," Janet?
It might be.
Like with Stapleton and Sheeran and Bruno?
Bruno Mars. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the song "Blow."
I think it is too. Something like that. I mean, who'd have thought?
Yeah.
That those three guys would come up with something like that. So yeah, you never know. I wouldn't mind doing something like that.
That's definitely
Dream on.
super cool, for sure.
Very cool.
Nice, right on. Well, Janet, Justin, we can't thank you guys enough for spending some time with us this evening and really getting to hang out. You know, our big thing is always like how you guys felt about it, that you had a great time, you enjoyed yourself, and you liked your questions, and that you felt it was worth your time.
It was awesome. It was great.
Blast. Thanks so much, you guys.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, definitely look forward to having you guys back on when the new album comes out. So we'll get to talk all about that. And once music gets back going again, and we, you know, won't even have to acknowledge 2020, and it'll be all about the fact that just music is live and thriving stuff. So we definitely look forward to getting you guys back on again in a future episode.
Sounds good to us. Thank you for having us.
We'll see you guys on the
Awesome.
road too in person.
Yes,
Yay.
definitely. 100%. We will definitely make sure that that's a thing, 100%. But thank you very much, Metal Summoners, as always, for tuning in with us and rocking out with us. We love you guys. There is no show without you guys. And we appreciate you guys tuning in every single week. For the Metal Summit, for Angel Alamo, for the Psycho Steve, for Empress Bobby Dreyer, I'm Jay. And again, we thank Janet Gardner, Justin James so much for spending their evening with us as always. Guest announcement on Friday, guys, as always. And the next episode, 9 p.m. next Wednesday night, Eastern Standard Time. But make sure you're also hitting us up on all of our socials as well. We're on Facebook Live, as you see with us being live, YouTube Live as well. Make sure that you're liking that and sharing it and get the notification. And also follow us on TikTok and on Instagram. So we will see you guys next week for an all-new episode. Thank you again for everybody. On behalf of the Metal Summit, Angel, Steve, and Bobby, and of course, Janet and Justin. We will see you guys next week. We will say all of our goodbyes, and we will talk to you guys real soon. Enjoy your evenings, guys. Have a great weekend. And as always, you guys have been watching the Metal Summit.
Dun, dun, dun.